Hello, dreamers, doers, and achievers. I'm Tyson, your host, and I invite you to join me on a new adventure called Sharing Success with Tyson. Each week, we dive into the most inspiring stories of individuals who have transformed their dreams into reality. From the entrepreneurs who started from nothing to the artists who see the world differently, we share the journeys that inspire and motivate. Whether you're looking to ignite a long-held passion or find encouragement in your daily grind, Sharing Success with Tyson is your weekly dose of motivation. Together, let's redefine success and achieve the extraordinary. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to season 2 of Sharing Success. I am so excited that you are here with me. If you can't already tell, there is an absolute lag in the video today. If you are watching this on YouTube, I am so sorry. Throughout this podcast, there is some audio and visual issues. I promise I will try to get a hold of that. But our guest, Miranda, was phenomenal. You do not want to miss this episode. I'm so grateful that you guys are tuning back in for season 2. Miranda has an amazing story today. Let me tell you just a little bit about her. Miranda is a dedicated mom on a transformative fitness journey, learning to balance the demands of motherhood with her own personal and career growth. After facing numerous obstacles, whether it was juggling family life, battling self-doubt and postpartum struggles, or dealing with physical and emotional setbacks, she's found strength in perseverance. Through hard work and determination, she's discovered the power of resilience, pushing herself not to become just stronger physically, but mentally as well. Along the way, Miranda has embraced the importance of self-care, recognizing that growth isn't just about reaching a destination, but about embracing the process. Her journey is a testament to the fact that even in the hardest times, we can grow, overcome, and become the best version of ourselves. Guys, I am so grateful that Miranda was willing to come on today. Again, big apology for some audio and visual mishaps we had. Thank y'all for bearing with me. I'm really excited you're here with me to kick off season 2 of Sharing Success, and I hope that you enjoy the episode. I am just popping in to say I wanted to give a quick trigger warning. This episode does touch on the topics of miscarriage and grief and financial hardships. So if that is a trigger or a hard spot for you, you may want to go listen to any of my other episodes. You can find them on any streaming platform. Thank you to everybody who is here and supporting. I hope you enjoy this episode. Thank you for hopping on, Miranda.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is crazy. We're here.
I know. I'm so happy that we got to connect. Before this clip, your intro ran, and so everybody knows a little bit about you. But is there anything else that you want to include? Anything else that you want to tell listeners off the bat before we hop into your story?
I mean, not really, not like a whole lot, but just in general, like I'm just a mom. I shouldn't say like I'm just a mom. I am a mom, and I'm just on my, fitness journey. I'm on my journey of like essentially trying to love myself again, even though my son is almost 2 years old. It's taken me almost 2 years to really get more comfortable with myself and to really figure out like who I am instead of like, I don't want to say losing my identity after having a kid, but essentially like along the same lines. And but yeah, I'm a mom. I'm a wife. We've been together for like almost 10 years. Girl math, 10 years. Realistically, realistically, we've been together for almost 8 years. So, but yeah, I'm here, and I'm here to support people, parents, women, moms on their journey of figuring it out as I do too.
Yeah, I love that so much. I really do. For those that are watching right now, I just want to put a quick note. I am having it seems that I'm having camera issues today, so there may be a lag on my video and my audio, but that's okay. We're gonna deal with it today. But I am super grateful that you're here, Miranda. I just want to chat with you. It's funny, we connected on social media and kind of starting with season 2 with this podcast. I had a lot of really great people that I'm so grateful for. on season one. I want to place an emphasis more on season two on just people, I don't know, like people in their everyday lives and how things that a lot of people think are just, oh, it's no big deal. I triumphed over this. Like, I really want to highlight everybody in every life because like you said earlier, I'm not just a mom. No, you're not just a mom. Like it's a triumph in and of itself. And so I want a lot of people listening to realize that what you think is like your everyday life and what you think is you just being you, it's you overcoming a lot and it's you succeeding in a lot of ways. And I think I really want people to give themselves some credit here. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from.
No, exactly. That totally makes sense.
Let's let the listeners kind of dive in and learn about you. So, can you tell me about your background and kind of just the journey that led you to where you are today?
Yeah, it's kind of a long story. But a long time ago, so I got on to like doing TikTok essentially whenever it was called Musically, and then that was like back in 2016.
Mhm.
And so I was in beauty school, and I would try and reach out to my clients, and I wanted to pull my clients in and gain my clientele by making these really cool videos and like posting my work and everything. So I started getting into it then, and then it kind of fell off for a little while. I like turned to Instagram more instead, and skip forward to 2021. My husband and I were together. We built our first house. He proposed to me in that house. Um, and then a few months later, we actually miscarried and we lost our first child. And so it was, and I didn't, sorry, I'm trying not to get
No.
emotional, but, um, but so yeah, I was in a very dark place, and I didn't know how to cope. I didn't know how to go through this type of pain that no one should ever have to experience in their entire life. And I had no idea of how to approach it, especially life afterwards. So what happened was, like, my husband and I, like, we both were being supportive of each other. Like, not only was it a traumatic experience for me, like physically, but mentally as well. It was a just as equal traumatic experience for him. And so he was able to turn, my husband's very active. And so he was able to turn to, joining softball leagues and basketball leagues and keeping him distracted from that pain. And so, and he encouraged me to like get out of the house and like do something for me and try and distract myself as equal as he is doing it too. And I just couldn't find myself to do that. It took me like weeks to even just walk out of our house. I
Yeah.
was in a very, very low place, in a very dark place. And so yeah, and I ended up like skipping forward to turning to social media and turning to TikTok. And I started making videos, and I started connecting with all of these women and all these parents all over the world that have been through very similar experiences. And because before, like, I never thought like, oh, this is gonna happen to me. This isn't gonna happen to like us, like whatever. And obviously that's not a case. It can happen to anyone. And so I turned to TikTok, and I started venting, or at least like getting my emotions out in a very creative, I guess you could say, way by making videos and like doing voiceovers and all of this stuff. And essentially everything that TikTok is what you're supposed to do with,
Yeah.
like, it's an outlet, and it was an outlet for me at the time. And so it definitely made me realize that I wasn't alone. I was able to connect with thousands of other women and men and just everyone that have been through those similar experiences. And it made me realize like I'm not alone in this. Even though I felt alone, I just it opened my eyes dramatically. And so I ended up like it grew into something with TikTok to where I really started to enjoy it, and it started helping me to heal in some way. And even though I'll sorry, I'm trying to get emotional.
You're
Um,
fine.
even though I'll still always have that hole in my heart from our child, I have my son now, and he definitely makes me realize every single day that, our baby's still with us. And so I'm very grateful for my son and my family, my husband, and as well as everyone on social media that I had connected with and still continue to this day to connect with them and talk to them on a daily basis. And so it's grown into now me wanting to focus on me getting like my mental health in check as well as my physical health because I want to be with my son and with our future children for as long as I can. And so I think that that's really what
Yeah.
something that woke up in me.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And first off, I want to say thank you so much for being vulnerable and opening up about that. I feel like a lot of times, especially nowadays, we are just expected to kind of push emotion aside and not recognize it. And I know a lot of people getting over grief is just to literally get over it and not process it. And so a lot of us, instead of like kind of focusing on, honing in on recognizing our grief and trying to move through it, we try to just skip over it. And so I think it's really brave of you to, years after the fact, continue to talk about it and to advocate that it is a real thing and that even for, the fathers that are in this situation or the other spouses, it affects the whole family. And so I appreciate you opening up about that. And I love what you said about finding community in TikTok. Can you speak a little bit on um, just the way that finding community, even though it wasn't upfront and personal for you at the time, can you speak on how finding an online community helped you to move through your grief? Was it because you felt comfort that other people had gone through the same thing, or how did that help you?
I think that so after everything happened and I was trying to like understand what exactly had happened, like obviously like we had friends and family reach out to us and I I'm not one to try and complain to people. I don't like it. It makes me feel weird. Even though it's a very natural thing for every like all the humans in the world to complain about something, it's very natural and to be frustrated. But for some reason, I felt like I was being a burden to my close friends, and my family about talking about this because I almost felt guilty, like thinking I'm not the only person that's gone through it. Why am I acting like I'm the only person that's gone through it? That's what was going on in my mind for so long. So I just kind of closed off. And that's something that I've continued to work on to this day because I always just like shut down and I try and ignore problems until I just explode and I just start crying for like a day and then I just move on. Like I don't actually address the issue. And so whenever it came to this, I felt more comfort. I don't want to say more comfort because that's not the right terminology, but I found it easier for me personally to talk to someone that I had never met before in my life, but that I've been that they've been going through the exact same experience or similar
Mm-hmm.
experience. And so even though because I almost felt like they're not going to judge me. And then whenever I was talking to friends and family, I felt that I was going to be judged. And I worried too much about what other people were going to think instead of my own like pain and why I needed to express my feelings, my frustration, my anger. Like I didn't understand why this happened and I needed to be able to voice that out. And so once I turned to social media for it, it really became like an automatic release and like a relief off of my shoulders for being able to get this out in ways that I couldn't find verbally. Like there are a lot of times where I can't find the right words to say, but whenever I'm like texting or if I'm posting something, for some reason it just comes so naturally to me to put it down on paper or, digitally.
Yes.
It's it's crazy.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. There's something about having a creative outlet and not necessarily talking to somebody face to face, but being able to put content out there Or I don't know, it's like it's almost like a third party way of putting your emotions out there. It's not directly through you, but it's still a part of you. And I completely agree with that. Um, there's this quote by Mel Robbins that's getting really popular lately, and she said, social media isn't for other people, it's for you to find yourself. And I think that hits it right on the nail. I think as you continue to evolve and put out content and meet other people in your online sphere and in any online community, you hone in on who am I? Who do I want to present myself as? What do I like? And in that process, I could see how kind of refining yourself and refining your experiences really helped you to move, not past, but move through your grief and navigate your grief in that. And I think that's really great and that's really special. Our this podcast is about it's about success, and so I want to take a moment and talk about and before I say this, let me preface: this is a safe space. B, you don't have to talk about anything you don't want to talk about, 100%. And even if you, like I said before, if you decide you want to cut something out, let me know. And C, emotions are okay on this podcast, 100%. I have cried before, and it's okay to cry. It's just another form of emotions. Um, with that being said, my question is, let's talk about your successes here. And um, what are you proud of? Let me think about how to phrase this. Can you tell me what makes you proud about the way that you were able to navigate your grief during such an uncertain time?
Honestly, I think just getting out of my comfort zone and not being afraid to reach out to someone that I don't know
Yeah.
and building those connections, as well as like, say for example, like whenever I went through that, I started an Instagram page about miscarriage, infertility, and just to get all of my emotions out. So I'd make all these posts and everything. And so I knew that there were going to be people that I knew personally that were going to be following, because I ended up like using an old page that I hadn't never used in like years. It was just some random Instagram page, but I knew that that was going to be a thing, and I was nervous and hesitant about posting my emotions because I'm like, well, like maybe this is something that I need to keep to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me feel worse. And I went like days without saying anything. And I just kind of contemplated, am I going to actually post or like not? And like, I need to be able to, have an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I talked to my husband about it for a very long time. And he says, like, straight off the bat, what do you want to do? Like, yes or no? Just say yes or no. I was like, yes. He's like, do it. That's your automatic, you need to do it. And also don't worry about other people. Don't think about what other people are going to say, because no matter what, we live in a world there, it's very easy to be judgmental of someone. And,
Yes.
I'm not innocent in that either. It's a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's whether or not you want to use that as like fuel, or are you going to let it completely break you down? So, and I
Yes.
think that like I've been getting so much grief from people that I know personally in my life for posting recently on TikTok, and like
Mm-hmm.
people were saying like, "Oh, I'm just trying to be an influencer. I'm trying to get famous. I'm trying to do all this stuff." When originally like that wasn't even the case. It's not even the case to this day. I turned to TikTok, and I still to this day turn to TikTok to help me and
Yep.
to get me through these hard times, and just to be myself and to get out of my comfort zone, to become more confident in myself. And this is something that I want to do and I genuinely enjoy doing.
Yep.
And even if it's something that I'm not talking about infertility or miscarriage every single one of my posts, it's still a journey that I'm going through myself. And I know I'm not alone in it. I know that there are other people all over the world that are going through similar things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it says a lot that you're willing to be there for other people who are going through similar situations, right? Because when we see somebody um, online, not in person within our little immediate circle, going through something, I think it puts things into perspective. And it's like, okay, so other people go through this too. I'm not alone. And so I think it speaks a lot to your character, the fact that you're willing to share your story and just be a space for others to see that you've went through it. I appreciate that you're doing that. It's, would you recommend that somebody who is trying to navigate grief and they're not being, they can't find a way that works for them, would you recommend to say, like, I don't know, an acquaintance, a friend, if somebody's like, I don't know how to find myself, I've lost myself in this sadness, would you recommend trying to create content to them as a creative outlet?
I think that if they would be open to it or comfortable with it, then yeah, why not? Like it could help. I'm not saying that, what worked for me is going to work for someone else or what helped me is going to help someone else, but it doesn't, I think that even if it's just putting the thoughts to paper sort of thing, even if they're like journaling along those lines, even if they don't want to put everything out onto social media, um, I think that that helps. I think that just getting it out in some form, whether it's verbally, you're physically writing it out, typing out, whatever the case is, like it's totally fine. There's no right or wrong way to approach grief.
Yeah.
And I think that grief and like miscarriage and essentially anything human related has it's not talked about enough in our society. I think that it's very hush hush and we just have this weird approach to the way that people should react to certain events in their life, especially whenever it's dramatic or
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's interesting that we don't, we're not more open about these sort of things.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And I think that's why I applaud people so much like you that are trying to kind of erase the stigma of, hey, it's okay to like feel things. We're all human and we go through human things. It's okay to feel it. And that's something that I'm trying to be more vulnerable as well. And like you said, I think there is some backlash that comes with that from whether it be friends, family, people that know you as an acquaintance. Because I think in order to be on social media, in order to present yourself to a lot of people, you've got to be bold. You've got to be brave. You've got to break outside of the mold of what a lot of people are doing. And so I love how, you're going to get hate, and that's okay. I love how you touched on that. But I mean, you're going to get hate whether you're posting or you're not posting. I think people are going to judge anyways. Like you said, it's a human emotion. And so I appreciate the people that are willing to, despite the judgment that they're going to receive, they're willing to just put their story out there anyways. I love that. And I commend you for that. I think that's really great. I want to I want to touch on now how fitness in your journey. Can you touch on how you kind of got started in that and just how it's helped you even to today to navigate everyday life?
Um, yeah, and sorry, you cut out for a second. You said related to fitness, correct?
Oh yeah, sorry. I don't can you hear me now?
Yeah, no, it was just like as soon as you said, like I heard the start of the word, and I was like, I think what you said was.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I so it's kind of I didn't take my pregnancy with my son. I didn't take it like I needed to be active. I was let me rephrase that. Sorry. Whenever I was pregnant with my son, I wasn't as active as I should have been. I was so scared that something was going to happen to him and because of my previous experience. And so I just like kind of stayed sitting, not doing anything, not really being very active at all. Max just like walking around work and which at the time I got like 12,000 steps every single day that I went to work. So like
Yeah.
in that sense, but I wasn't like willingly, like on the weekends, going on a walk with my husband or doing anything physical. Like I just was
Mhm.
terrified. So postpartum, I I was having a hard time with that too because I mean the hormonal changes, just everything that comes along with postpartum was really catching up with me as well as like not understanding like what to do whenever my son would cry. Like I just felt like I couldn't figure it out. So I also started getting kind of depressed, and so I wasn't physical then. Like I wasn't working out. I wasn't taking care of my body just because I was so tired. But also I mentally could not wrap my head around taking time for myself and being away from my son, even if it was just like the next room over. I felt like I had to be with him constantly,
Yeah.
and that's what really weighed on me. And I think that a lot of mothers feel that way, but I mean, obviously, like we're here today and I'm totally fine with him, like being in a totally separate room or like with his babysitter, like anything.
Yeah.
But, um, but I didn't start like working out. I think it was like he was 8 or 9 months old before I started working out like 2, 3 times a week. And then it jumps to him being 14 months old. And that's whenever I really like got in check and I had a few different influences in my life. So for one, I was started thinking more about my son and how I wanted to be here with him for as long as possible, be my healthiest self for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And along with that, I wanted to be that way for my husband. I wanted to be with my husband as long as possible. And I want us to, as together, because we're both on our fitness journeys, I want us both to show our son and show our future children that an active lifestyle is the best thing that you could have. And because it helps you mentally and it helps you physically, but I want him to show that and feel that way, but also look to us as an example of these and not follow in the same steps that we used to a long time ago. And then another one is like my parents, even though they're divorced, they both have been on their fitness journeys too. I want to say back like 5 years ago, my son, or my, not my son, sorry, my dad had a triple bypass and he was really close to losing his life. And he, sorry, um, it was a scary experience. And I didn't, I didn't realize how, sorry.
You're okay.
Um, But yeah, so after his surgery, he really got into check with himself and he started becoming more active. He changed the way that he was eating. He's a better version of himself physically to this day. Like he has just been a great example of at any point of your life you can become active, you can become healthy, you can live a life that you truly want no matter what age you are.
Yeah.
And same with my mom. My mom has just completely changed her life by, signing up for like 5Ks, and she's an active runner now. And it's so inspiring and so motivating for me as their child to see all of
Yeah.
it. And that's something that I want to have. I want my son to have the same feeling that I do right now. It's like, holy crap, my mom can do that. Like, you can do that.
Yeah.
Mom's a great example of this. And my dad, and it's just all that. And then finally, my brother-in-law actually he flipped his life around and became very, very active to where he's like working out 2 times a week. And he's very into living a healthy lifestyle and eating a clean diet and everything like that. And so he was one of my inspirations as well, even if he doesn't know. He doesn't know it, but he was there for me whenever it came to like me wanting to know about different supplements or like different routines of working out or like
Yeah.
diet and stuff like that, or just in general clean lifestyle. And he was a great example. And then as well as like his girlfriend's a personal trainer, and I go to her every single day, and I'm like, tell me how to make my form better. Like, what did you do? Like, how can I approach this differently? Like, it's been great having that close, very close family to lean on, and them being very supportive of an active lifestyle and helping you along the journey.
I love that, Miranda. I love that because there's like a theme in the way that you have all of these people that you look up to. You have all of these examples that you are, you know, that you're gaining insight from. And because of that, I think I speak for myself and I'm sure a lot of other people, because a lot of your content is focused on mom life, fitness, and things like that. But you're an example to so many others now because of the examples that kind of put you in the space that you're in. And so I love that. I love that people sharing their journey and you seeing how fitness and health has affected other people really inspired you to go on your journey. And I think that's great. Can you speak to success along your fitness journey? How do you ensure that like you're always striving to be better? What's motivating you?
Um, so I just want to kind of start off by like putting it out there. Like, I am very aware that I am not a personal trainer. I am not educated enough to understand like what muscles are being worked. Like, I don't know the depths of that. Like, I know the general idea of it, yes,
Yeah.
and like the purpose of certain workouts, but I'm not by any means trying to come off that I'm a personal trainer because that's not it at all.
Yeah.
I'm just a woman. I'm just a mom. I'm just a wife that's wanting to change her life and become a healthier version of myself. And I'm like any other person, because I know that there's people out there that are going through the same thing. As far as my motivation, though, I mean, I have good days and bad days. I There are times where I'm just like, I'm not gonna work out today. I just need a break. And there was even like a week, not too long ago, that I was like, I need to. Granted, I was also on vacation, so I didn't really work out as often as I should have. But I was like, I just need to give my body time to reset. I need to give my body time to recover from all of these workouts that I've been putting it through. That I like ended up having to check in with myself. I'm like, I'm trying to push so hard to get to where I want to be, ignoring the fact that I still need to be kind to my body.
Yeah.
And I think that another motivator with this is like going through my pregnancy and seeing how insane the human body is,
Yeah.
how we can just like overcome and the pain that we can go through and how resilient our bodies are. It was mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to essentially like thank my body for the for the year of service that it
Yeah.
and so I think that I just want to be able to give back, and I want to treat my body well. Like, I mean, people always say like treat your body like a temple, and I never like resonated with that until I started, working out more consistently. And I'm like, I totally understand. Like, really looking at ingredients in food or whatever the case is, like even if it's not like super hardcore, like a very strict diet. Because I know there's people out there that are like, they look at every single thing and like it's insane, which kudos to them. That's insane. Like, I would love to be like that, but it's just realistically for my life, it's not, because I also have to be
Yeah.
able to think about my son too. And so whenever we're going grocery shopping, like, yeah, I think just like making small tweaks. Like, if my son is really into popsicles, he loves popsicles. So the popsicles that my husband and I would eat whenever we were kids, like if you look at the stuff that's in it, it's so bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, he can have a popsicle, but let's find a better version, like maybe a sugar-free one or whatever the case is. And so just making like small tweaks that can give us just a regular diet, a regular approach to food, and a
Mhm.
healthy, like essentially a healthier approach to food, and treating our bodies, like a temple from inside out.
I love that. I love that so much, and I completely agree with you. I think, um, just staying active in any way you can is that's a success. And then being able to get to the point where you realize, okay, what does my body need today? Does it need rest? Do I need to push a little harder? I think that's really important, and I love how you're at the point now that you're able to do that. Um, so along with fitness, how are you balancing all of this? Because you stay active, you are an awesome mother, you work. How are you balancing all of this and managing to show up for your kids?
It's it's really hard, honestly. Like being a parent is hard. Being a full-time employee is hard, and it's just you don't really realize the things that you can truly do until you actually do it. And so I think that it's been a lot of trial and error on my part of trying to figure out ways that I can manage my time better to make sure I get all the things that I need to get in to live the life that I want.
Mhm.
So with I mean, for one, I think I've said this like 1,000 times in like all of my TikToks, but I cannot sleep in past 5 a.m. I just like I think it's like it started whenever my son was born and I was losing sleep anyway. But ever since then,
Yeah,
I just can't sleep in anymore. And plus, I love waking up early. I think that it's a great time for me. So I use that time to kind of catch up on, for one, like TikTok videos, editing, as well as my me time of doing things that I enjoy. So, like, I like watching the news in the morning, or I like to listen to my audiobooks in the morning and sip my coffee and do whatever I want to do, or like catch up even on some cleaning because I genuinely enjoy cleaning.
yeah,
Uh, like, it's just soothing to me.
same.
But so something like that. And then like thinking about the day, that's also the time that I think and kind of structure out my day. And if it doesn't work out the way that I had in my mind, I don't try and like freak out about it.
Yeah,
I try and just be like, all right, well, I'll make time for it. It's okay. And so normally, just to kind of walk you through like my average work day or something, um, I'll get up, have my me time in the morning, get my son up for school, take him, come back if I'm remote that day. And there's usually like 45 minutes before I officially start working. And so normally that's whenever I get at least a 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute workout in.
okay.
And then I go into my work day, and afterwards my husband will go get our son, and that's whenever I can finish out my workouts is as soon as he leaves, get my workout in, and then by the time that they're on their way home, I'm starting dinner, I'm cleaning up stuff, and then once our son is down, that's time that I have with my husband, and that
Yeah.
we either do things together or we do things separately.
Hmm.
So obviously it doesn't always work like that, but that's generally the things that I do.
Yeah.
Um, just kind of making that time and being totally honest, like my motivation is not my mom, sorry, my mom, yes, but my
Hmm.
motivation is my son and my husband, like
Yeah.
every single day.
Yep. I love that. You wanna show up for them, and it it makes sense that they give you reason to do that. And I love how on top of your time management you are, and it makes sense with again how busy you are that you have to schedule things out and have like a general schedule that you go by. But I'm sure it makes all the difference, prioritizing the things that you need to and doing stuff like that. So I'm really grateful that you are sharing a part of this, or your whole journey in general because it's so relatable to everybody. I feel like a lot of the listeners, a lot of people are trying to balance so many things: work, motherhood, um, fitness, content creation, all of that, and you make it look very graceful. So I love being a part of your journey. I want to kind of head on into our last little segment or topic here, and I know that, like I said, a lot of people listening can relate to you on so many levels. I want to see if you can hone in on tips for success. So, would you be able? This is a big ask, but would you be able to give us a tip, a success tip for fitness, motherhood, and content creation? What if you could give one success tip for each of those categories? What would they be?
I think kind of just relating to all of them, taking it day by day, not walking into it with an automatic expectation of how you think things are going to work out,
Mm-hmm.
because it normally, like, typically it doesn't always work out the way that you have planned. Um, and so I think that just by trying to be realistic in the sense that it's okay if things don't go the right way that you had imagined, as well as just being kind to yourself and understanding that at the end of it, it's going to be all worth it. And it's the experience that you're going through that's going to educate you even more and make you a stronger, better person in the sense
Yeah.
than you were before. And I think that a lot of people go into, say, for example, like working out and fitness, that they're going to get results overnight. And that's just not the case. It takes what, like years to really get to where your main goal is, even if you can, it just takes a long time.
Yeah.
And it's something that you have to have discipline for. And again, it's okay to have off days. It's
Yeah.
okay to take a break and be kind to yourself, be kind to your body, and give yourself time. And I think another thing is to, it's easy to listen to other people and talk about doing something. For example, like saying, I'm going to work out today, I'm going to work out tomorrow, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but it not actually happening. Like putting it off, like it ends up being on you. Like
Yeah.
you're the only person that can motivate yourself to actually get up and go do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a lot easier said than done. But as soon as, which honestly, whenever I started, I was in that mentality like, oh, I'm not seeing results right away. Like I'm just gonna give up.
Yeah.
And so I had to break that immediately. And I would work out for a little while, and then I gradually just started increasing how long I was working out, my weights, my reps, everything like that. And it just became second nature to me. And now it's something that I genuinely enjoy and that I have to do in order to feel like myself, as well as to feel happy, because it affects your mood. Sorry,
Yeah.
it affects your mood like no other. It's crazy how much just being active and like even just going on like a 20-minute walk can really improve who you are and your well-being.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think because you're getting things accomplished and you're prioritizing things, you're following through with those commitments that you've made to yourself, if that makes sense, it just makes you feel better about yourself. And I completely agree with that. Miranda, do you have anything else that you would like to share with us about finding success or just your journey in general?
Yeah, so a long time ago, um, I moved to Nebraska and I had like $1,000 in my pocket. I was very naive to think that I could live off of that amount of money for, months.
Yeah.
I was not at all prepared, and my parents were like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Because I was moving on my own, and it was just the whole thing. And I was like, "Yeah, no, of course. Like, I'm gonna do this." And so I moved, and um, like along the line, like down the road, I met my husband, and I was very open and honest with him with the struggles that I was going through, because I was not at all prepared mentally and
Mhm.
financially to live on my own. And so my husband's the only one that knows this, but I was struggling so much that I had to choose whether or not I needed to pay my rent or pay for food. So what I would end up doing was, obviously I needed a roof over my head, so I'd put my paychecks, which were very, very little, towards my rent. And it's a very low point of my life where I would get a Tupperware and I would go to grocery stores that were giving out samples and I would stock up on samples. I would go
Yeah.
to Costco and tell them that I was going into the food court, which at the time they were like, "Oh yeah, you don't have a membership, but you can still go get food, whatever."
Yeah.
And I would sneak by and I would go to all the um, samples, and I would do
Mm.
this for like every 2 3 days. I would go.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't afford food and I couldn't even afford to wash my clothes. I would put all of my clothes that I needed to wash in my bathtub and I would put laundry soap in it and I would just hand wash all of my clothes. And then I would hang
Yeah.
them up and stuff. So it was like a very low point of my life that I had to wake up. I probably was at my rock bottom.
Hmm.
I had to wake up and come to the realization that I need to change what I'm doing. I need to change my choices, and from there, I was able to educate myself as well as my husband my now husband, my boyfriend at the time, was teaching me better ways of budgeting and better
Yeah.
ways of spending my money and saving my money and doing things for me, but also in a very smart way. And so that became a big motivator in my career. I went back to school. I graduated. I started working for my dream organization, and just all of those obstacles in the past have definitely led up to who I am today. It's made me mature. It's made me be more realistic with expectations in life. And it made me realize how I can overcome more than I think that I'm capable of doing.
Yeah.
So that kind of has led me into being a mom and trying to be an example for my son and prove to him you can do anything that you set your mind to. And it doesn't matter how low you are, you can build yourself back up again.
Yeah. You really can. I love that so much. Um, Everything about your story is it's so inspirational, and I love how you've been through the toughest of times, but it's led you to where you are today, and you've taken the lessons from those tough times and you let it kind of fuel you, excuse me, to turn you into the person that you want to be. And I think that that is so beautiful. And Miranda, do you have anything else that you want to share with us?
No, honestly, that's pretty much it. I think that I wanted to be able to make more of a connection to people out there that might feel like they're at their rock bottom,
Hmm.
as well as people wanting to change their life, physically, mentally, being more kind to themselves, being more positive about the things that they can truly accomplish if they set their mind to it. Because you can, as cheesy as it is to say, you can do anything that you set your mind to. And I I feel like I'm living proof of that.
You absolutely are. You absolutely are. And I'm so grateful that you came on today and that you shared your story and that it was inspiring, and that you dealt with all of the crazy tech and audio and video issues that I'm having today. So
Totally.
I really appreciate you being on here, Miranda. Yeah, I think this is going to inspire a lot of people. And guys, I will link all of Miranda's contact info, the socials that she's provided us with in the description if you would like to stay connected with her. And I really appreciate Miranda. I thank you for hopping on, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much for having me. Again, it's so crazy that we're able to meet and connect after just a very common
Yep,
interest.
yep, I completely agree. I'm very grateful that yeah, that you're able to be here in my life and that I was able to share your story and meet you in general. So I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.